FoodTruckr School is now in session, episode 14. What? What's up, Food Truckers? Pat Flynn here, your host, and all of us here at FoodTruckr.com are here to help you make your life easier as a food truck owner or a future food truck owner. We are here to help you. Today on the show with us, we have Felix and Scott from kitchensonwheels.com. Felix has been building trucks for decades, mobile kitchens. He even has helped Scott build one as well. And we're going to learn a lot about essential equipment, how to pick the best truck, the best way to get started, what to look for, what to look out for, the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to their truck. And then Scott's going to give us a rundown on branding and website and integrating all of that together because, you know, this is a long process and it starts with your menu and your truck. So let's get to Felix and Scott. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having us.
I appreciate you guys coming on. Now, Felix, you own kitchensonwheels.com. Can you explain for everybody out there what exactly kitchensonwheels.com is all about?
Kitchensonwheels.com builds premier custom food trucks all over the world. We have been building trucks for 11 years. We're the third oldest manufacturer in the country, and we are the only one certified by Mercedes-Benz in the world allowed to put kitchens inside of their Sprinter vans.
That's so awesome. How many trucks have you've helped create so far?
Oh, man, we probably build on average between 30 and 60 a year.
Wow. That's crazy. How has the industry changed since you first started?
Oh, it's gone a million different ways. I remember, back when I got started building food trucks, and Scott was probably one of my first clients, weren't you, Scott, back then?
It was a long time ago. I don't remember.
A long time ago.
I don't know if I was one of your first, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, probably one of the first, But anyway, back in those days, 10 years ago, the food truck as an industry was just starting to get off the ground. It was before you had the meccas of the food trucks, parks like in Austin and Seattle and Portland. Way before that. So you had to have a very versatile cook line or a food truck, something that could change the menu that day or that week or that next day so you could adjust to your client's palate, I would say, or what they wanted to eat. And nowadays, we're building gourmet food trucks with, one thing on the menu, peanut butter and jelly trucks and cupcake trucks and pizza trucks, it's just the menu has gotten so consolidated and very unique,
Yeah, that must be awesome to kind of see how it all is evolving, though. Are you excited about where the industry is headed?
I am very excited to see that more cities across the country every year are, they're loosening up their mobile vending regulations and allowing the food trucks to be part of the society in their city, to bring something new to their area. There were cities that before they wouldn't allow food trucks, within 100 miles of the city.
Yeah.
Now, everybody's starting to say, wow, that's another form of revenue for the city. It's another way to bring the community together. And, it's really blossoming. I like where it's going.
Awesome. That's cool. Now, Scott, let's talk to you really quick. What it is, or how, besides Felix helping you create a truck back in the day, how are you affiliated with kitchensonwheels.com?
Well, I built Felix's website, and I consult with him we kind of co-consult with people that are considering buying a food truck and getting into the industry. And what I do is talk to them about their website and, versus mobile website versus Facebook only, those type of things, let them kind of understand what all their options are. And, the essential, I think, that if you have a food truck, you have to have a website and some kind of social presence. It's critical these days.
Totally, absolutely. We've had guests on the past talk about the importance of mobile and just having a website to begin with, which a lot of people aren't really understanding quite the importance of that yet. But let's talk about, somebody who's just getting involved with this industry, who just wants to get started. Obviously, they need a truck. Scott and Felix, I'll tag both of you on this question. First, we'll start with you, Scott. Like, what are the most common sort of issues or concerns that newbies have, and how can they better resolve those issues? And when it comes to food truck, the actual food truck.
I think there's two kind of broad people that start looking at food trucks. They just, they want to dream of their own business, and they may be a chef, they may be someone who's cooked a lot, and they want to cook, and that's kind of as far as they've gotten. And then there's the people that are really narrowed down, that they know, like Felix was saying, they know what they want to do. They have a concept. I mean, so those people, this is what they want. And so it's, I say it's basically those are the two big groups that come in there. They're just I want to cook and I want my own place, and help, and I think the food truck is, the way to start, versus the people that they really, really have it narrowed down.
Sure. Actually, the big question from that is, which one is easier for you as somebody who's trying to help people get off the ground? Is it somebody who knows what they want and has very specific ideas, or is it somebody who's sort of just, I want to cook, I'm open to ideas? Felix, maybe. We'll go with you.
Yeah, that's more a Felix question.
I'm sorry?
Oh, my question was about, there's different types of people who want to start a food truck, and obviously the listeners are in the whole range there, from people who really have a concept down and have an idea and can imagine themselves and what the truck looks like and what is inside that truck, versus somebody who's just passionate about their food and wants to cook. Who's the easier client, or what do you prefer?
I'll tell you what, we have built food trucks for SeaWorld, for corporate organizations in the country like General Mills. We built the hamburger helper truck that went on tour coast to coast.
Oh, cool.
I'll be honest, I like my startups. I like my newbies. I tend to fall in love with their concepts and their passion, and you just kind of take them on as a client and grab them by the hand and walk them through the health department regulations and what they should be doing on their end. And I would say those are probably my preferred, but I also like working with the corporate companies. I mean, it's always awesome and a good feather in the hat when you build. You're the exclusive builder for SeaWorld, and have built 4 or 5 trucks for them, and that hamburger helper truck you see on national television every single night for the past year, and say, wow, I built that. That it's I think that the pride is the same, yet you're absolutely right in saying that it is a different feeling. With the big companies, they kind of know what they need, what they want. They're looking at us, to just kind of guide them and just tweak what they want to do for their tour or for their marketing piece or whatnot. And the newbies or the startups, they're kind of looking at you saying, hey, I'm going to retire. And instead of sinking my nest egg of $500,000 into a restaurant because I think I make the best meatball sandwiches, let's try my concept out, in a food truck. And if it hits, it hits. I mean, there's been many a client that we've put into brick and mortars that have started in trucks or trailers, and Scott, the way he consults with us, Scott's a chef as well as a website developer. So he's a great ally to have. I always tend to ask my clients, hey, if you need to talk to a chef and bounce some ideas off of him and see what he thinks, because Scott's on top of being a chef and a web developer, that teaches our clients how important the social media is and to have a mobile app and this and that. Scott's working his own food truck, so it's good experience, and you just kind of, again, you have to hold them by the hand and just try to make them feel, the direction that they're taking is the correct one for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Felix, do you have any tips for somebody who's just starting out? Specific tips on how to choose the right food truck, how to make sure the equipment on there is right? I mean, would you recommend leasing or renting out a truck versus buying a new one? There's so many options. I think, for anybody out there, it's quite overwhelming. How would you calm a person down and help push them in the right direction?
Well, one of the things I always tell my clients is I am your general contractor, and it's my job not to let you spend money where I feel you don't need to. For example, when you look at a menu and they're choosing equipment, if you can get the same functionality out of one piece of equipment instead of using three, you just save that client thousands of dollars by saying, you can really cook that on this, as opposed to having that specialty piece of equipment to cook it. You can also do it on this versatile piece of equipment. You can do the same thing. And convincing your clients to take your advice and go that route. I mean, that's one of the things I would do. I would say my biggest recommendation is get very familiar with the mobile vending regulations in your area. That is super important because, some people will order the truck and then we're sending CAD drawings to them and, these very specific drawings on the systems of the vehicles, and they haven't even talked to the health department. They don't even know if the city will allow a food truck. That happened to a couple of my clients in Chicago.
Wow.
It took a year after they paid $100,000 plus on a vehicle that they couldn't use it until Chicago passed their regulations. So get familiar with the regs is definitely top priority. And then, get very comfortable with what you feel you're going to sell. Get very familiar with your menu so we can, talk equipment. And then I think everything after that is marketing, marketing yourself, your brand, your food. And, that's where Scott and Haley Consultants come in and help in with the websites and the mobile apps and the Twitter feeds and the Facebook and all around design on the graphics and everything. I mean, those trucks turn out to be mobile billboards,
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the menu is incredibly important, and I'm getting a feeling like that's the first thing people should start with. Everything is sort of based off of the food. Obviously, it's a food truck, but a lot of people, when they first start out, they're thinking about the name of the brand or the colors before they even think about the menu, or the truck that they're going to get before they even think about the menu, and everything else should be based off of the food you're cooking, right?
That is correct. That's I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think after if they can lock down that menu as the number one item, I think everything falls into place. And then, we'll be able to guide them correctly, whether they need a big step in or they need a sprinter because they're going to do hit and run catering or if they're going to be more stationary.
Right. Yeah. Get that menu nailed down, everybody. And you also mentioned, the health code regulations. That's obviously really important. And we've had previous guests on who suggested to just go there and make friends with all those people just so they know who you are and what you're trying to do. They're there to help, right? Would you recommend the same thing?
Absolutely, I would. Like I say, Felix built my truck, and we took it up to Kansas City, which had its super unique logistic challenge because half the city's in Missouri and half the city's in Kansas.
Right.
And without spending some quality time with those people, you just, you don't know what kind of truck to build or what kind, because they had very different criteria. And, to meet both was, if you couldn't have done it if you hadn't spent time with those people ahead of time.
Right. Now, Scott, let me ask you a couple questions about a website for a mobile truck. I mean, what are some tips you have for people when it comes to their online presence? Anything that can help? Like if you were to give a brand new person who maybe they got a new truck or they're about to build one and they have the brand all ready to go, what would give them the most, I guess, bang for their buck when it comes to the website and what should they have at a minimum?
I mean, first, a lot of things, but one of the first things is, of course, make sure that whatever you're thinking your food truck name is going to be, and that you're about to spend a lot of money on a skin for your truck. Make sure that you get that domain name.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than seeing a truck that says, Scott Super Duper Food Truck, and then you go and find out that domain has already been purchased.
Right. Or even beyond that, make sure it's not trademarked.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And then from there, pick a developer or designer that understands that this is kind of a unique industry versus just somebody that builds websites. And, then there's little things, make you of course, you're mobile, your truck is mobile, which more or less means the website needs to be something you can update often with where are you? And, I see a lot of people that do these, if you can see me, I'm putting my fingers in the air, free
Right.
website. And they find out after they built this thing that it's just it's a real challenge to update it often. For even something like today, we will be here. Tomorrow, we will be there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if people don't know where you are, it's hard to build a following.
Right. Absolutely. How important is social media to the mobile food truck game?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, I think it's people ask me do I have to have both, and I always, of course, say yes. But if you're only going to do one, you need to have a website that's either social media friendly, or you just you need to be on social media, because I mean, there's nothing like it. It's for this industry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, a lot of industries now are relying on social media to communicate, and also, I mean, I think it makes complete sense for a food truck which is going to be mobile. How better to tell people where you are than to be where people are, which is Facebook and Twitter typically are the top two. Are you in agreement that those are sort of the top two platforms to be on for a food truck?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just yesterday I was talking to a food truck operator here in the Dallas area that he's been experimenting with it lately, where he's got a website that he can update pretty quickly on the fly, and he has a hotspot on his truck, so that he can update his website pretty much instantly. And he alternates, like on one day he'll send out the first notice on Twitter that, hey, the food truck is open here, and then the next day he might do it on his website, just to see which one seems to bring the crowd quicker to where he is. And by far and away, Twitter is much quicker about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's put notice on Twitter that the truck is now open, and he gives the address, and sees people show up in as little as 5 minutes.
That's so cool. I think the idea of a hotspot is pretty awesome. There are sort of expensive versions of hotspots that you could get, and that way you can stay connected wherever you are on your truck. But I think, you could even tether your iPhone if you needed to, just do quick updates, or even use just use your iPhone to keep things updated as well. I mean, there's so many ways to do that now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're just updating your website, like you said, you can either use your iPhone as a hotspot and update it real quickly, or around here we've seen food trucks that have food truck parks that have their own Wi-Fi hotspots for people that are when they're surfing the web while they're in the truck park. Yeah,
that's super cool. All right, well, to finish up, guys, first of all, I just want to thank you both again for being on the show. Again, we're talking with Felix and Scott from kitchensonwheels.com. Just want to ask one more question to each of you. Same question. That'll be for the person out there who wants to get started and is started trying to do the research and trying to put everything together. They're getting quite overwhelmed with all the stuff that's involved, and because it's not you can't have a food truck overnight. There's a lot involved. What would you say to somebody who they know they have a good idea, but they're just overwhelmed and they're confused and they're just trying to figure things out and push forward? What would you recommend to those people?
I would say, don't give up. I mean, it is a lot of information thrown at an individual all at once, but don't be afraid to ask the questions. Find a good outfitter and a good builder that's going to answer those questions and is going to be with you through the health department and through the design phase, and it has the proper vendors and everything into place that can help you put the whole thing, pull it all together. So that's what I would say to them.
I would say the same thing is, from the time for the time that we put our truck into production, I think Felix and I had talked for, I don't know, probably a year and a half. And that's, I think sometimes these days we are so caught up in our websites and our social media and sending queries and whatnot that people don't realize that their iPhone actually is a phone and you can call people. And I think that's, there is a certain point in time that you just need to get on the phone and talk to the person or the people that you have narrowed it down to. This, these 2 or 3 people might be the guy that builds my truck, and actually spend time on the phone with them. And, conversely, if that person doesn't want to talk to you on the phone, that's probably your first hint. That's not a guy or a company that you want building your food truck. Because it's going to be like a marriage for a little bit, because it's probably, Felix would be able to say better, but I would say the process from the time you first contact someone about a food truck till you receive that food truck is, I doubt it's ever been shorter than 6 months for most of the trucks Felix builds. It's most likely a year and a half process.
Yeah, no, that's great to know. And I think a lot of people, especially in today's day, are always wanting things so fast. I mean, we get a lot of things faster than ever, but for something like this, I mean, it has to take a while in order to be done right. Plus, you have to think, if it was easy, then maybe it wouldn't be worth it on the other end. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So
there is that great line from Major League. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So how bad do we want it?
The hard is what makes it great.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time. Again, kitchensonwheels.com. Check it out. A lot of experience between both Felix and Scott there in the industry. Fellas, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Pat.
Take care. Have a good afternoon.
All right. You too.
Bye. All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Felix and Scott from kitchensonwheels.com. Definitely check them out. I apologize for all the background noise. My kids had woken up from their nap and construction started in the room next to me, which was unforeseen. But I apologize, but thank you so much. If you want the show notes and the links for anything mentioned in this episode, head on over to foodtruckr.com/14. Of course, reviews on iTunes are completely welcome and very much appreciated. Can't wait to see you there. And just have an awesome day. If you're in your truck right now, just have a great afternoon with your truck and just make lots of money and make lots of people happy. Take care, and we'll talk to you in the next episode of FoodTruckr School.